court accepts the existence of God every time a witness swears to tell the truth. I think it's about time they accept the existence of the devil. All right, let's get started.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Gedunk. Today we're going to be reviewing The Conjuring 3.
The devil made me do it!
Or did he? That's right. Was Arnie really possessed when he committed that murder, or wasn't he? And better question, how does this movie stack up to the first two? Stick around, because we're about to find out.
All right, Billy, A Conjuring 3. Who's in this movie?
All right, so we got Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson back as Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Essentially the two people from all the other movies.
Exactly. Demonologists extraordinaires.
So what did you think about this movie?
I thought it was okay. Did it stack up to the first two? I don't think it quite did as far as the scares go. The movie starts out not as dramatic, I think, as the first two did. You know, I don't think there was near as much scary stuff happening in this one. There was kind of a lot of slow parts in this. You know, there was a lot of just empty space I felt in this movie where there just wasn't a lot of drama going on. It almost made them more like detectives in this than demonologists and demon hunters, right? Like the first two did. So I kind of didn't like that aspect of it, especially when you read the storyline of this and none of that stuff even really happened. So the whole investigation and how they became Columbo in this movie, I just wasn't too impressed with that.
Yeah, and as you said, this is supposedly based on a true story, and it's about as believable as an episode of Scooby-Doo, if you ask me. But yeah, this movie, I thought it started off pretty interesting, like an exorcism scene with the kid. I mean, that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's nothing we haven't seen before, really. Though,
right,
so.
and I think you need to hit the nail on the head there, right? It reminds you of the movie The Exorcist, right? I mean the way the exorcism went down, kind of the kid cranking his body in all kinds of crazy directions and stuff, and you know, it's the typical type of exorcist that they try to portray in almost any movie where you see an exorcism now, and it just kind of, I mean, it was a good scene, but from there it just kind of very unbelievable, right? I can't even put it into words here, what I'm trying to say. I didn't like where they went with the story and how they just turned this into a giant Scooby-Doo, like you said, kind of an episode of Scooby-Doo where they're like the kids trying to solve a crime. You know, I didn't like how they threw that aspect into this.
All right, Billy, so do you think any of this stuff really happened or what?
All right, so I actually did research into this. So the movie's misleading in how the trial happens and what happens to Arnie Johnson, right? In the movie, they allowed Arnie to plead innocent due to demon possession. And in reality, kind of find out they didn't allow that at all. No, we're not going to let you do that crap because that just sounds like complete nonsense.
That's almost like the basis for the movie, it sounds like, in this one.
Right, exactly. And then in the end, they lead you to believe that he gets off with just manslaughter because he pled guilty to demon possession, when in reality, once the judge said, no, we're not going to let you plead demon possession, he pled guilt by self-defense. And that's why he only got, manslaughter and got 5 years out of it. Well, he got a 10 to 20 year sentence and only ended up serving 5 out of that 10 to 20. Right. And then as far as all the rest of the craziness that happens, the witch and the ghouls and ghosts and demon and all that stuff that they're chasing down, that none of that actually happened.
So I think he actually said he was possessed by like 42 demons and stuff as well. So.
Yeah, in reality, the Warrens said that he was possessed by 42 demons, not just one. So, of course, Hollywood's going to take, anything Hollywood says is based on true events. Is usually about 1% true events and 99% made up. So go into this movie understanding that.
Yeah, I didn't really mind the mystery aspect so much, but I just feel like this movie didn't do anything unique that I haven't seen before. The story to me was pretty vanilla as far as things goes. Like maybe if it was Halloween time and there was no other movie out, then I would have enjoyed this more. I do like this movie how there's nothing like crazy nudity or foul language, so you could potentially watch this with teenagers and stuff like that. I like that aspect, and
yeah, you could.
I like the horror stuff, but it just nothing really stood out to me in this movie.
No, and I agree with you. I mean, I've said it before. I love horror movies, and I like the first two Conjuring movies quite a bit. There's a lot more action and a lot more scary stuff in the first two, really. I mean, this one really wasn't much scary stuff. Even the demons in this and, kind of the ghosts and stuff didn't really just have that scare factor that they did in the first two movies. There just wasn't enough stuff coming out of the dark at you like there were in the first two movies. In this one, you could pretty much, it was one of those kind of movies where you just saw it coming, right? You knew when the scary parts were, you kind of knew what was going to happen, and it just kind of let you down a little bit as far as the scare factor goes. You're never really on the edge of your seat like, uh-oh, what's going to happen? It just kind of, you kind of understand what's coming up next, and it just didn't play out as well as I was really hoping it would.
Yeah, there weren't too many jump scares or really scenes that stuck in my head that would make me think if I was like in a dark basement or somewhere, by myself. Yeah,
absolutely. And, and the fact that, there's a scene where they're going downstairs in this priest's house, and he's got a room similar to the room they have in their house, and they've got all their artifacts in there and everything, and in this movie, Vera Farmiga's character, Lorraine, is scared to go downstairs into that room, right? But it's like, you live with this stuff in your house all the time. You're going to, you've got that kind of room in your house. So why would now all of a sudden you just say, you know what, I don't feel like going down there. I'm kind of scared.
Yeah, I guess she just felt an overall bad aura with it or something like that. So I don't know. But how do you think it compared to the other movies in the series?
Oh, not even close. So like I said, this movie, not near as scary, not near as dramatic, not near as good of just monsters and ghosts in general, I think. That nun ghost was phenomenal, or demon, I guess. She was phenomenal. This movie doesn't have any type of scary character that comes even close to that character. Just the menacing look on that character's face and just the fear she brings, on the big screen. There is just nothing that fits that in this movie. And I think that's really what this movie's missing, right? This movie's really just missing that kind of fear. And I didn't feel it when I was watching this.
Okay, so how would you rate this movie in the end?
In the end, I would probably give this movie 7, maybe, I would say. Because it wasn't a horrible movie, but it wasn't as good as the first two. And it wasn't scary, I didn't think. I want to be scared in these movies, and this movie didn't scare me, and it was more of an investigation, and like I said, an episode of Scooby-Doo than it was an actual scary film, which just meant to, scare you and make you jump out of your seat, and I didn't like that about this movie. Now, that's like I said, that's not to say it wasn't a bad movie, or wasn't a good movie, because it was a good movie, but it wasn't a great movie, and it just didn't do it for me the way I would have liked it to.
Yeah, I think a 7's pretty generous. I'm going to give this a 5. Horror really isn't my genre, and I don't think this did anything special. I would say it's about average. So I'm going to give it a 5.
Yeah, the reason I gave it a 7 is because, and maybe I'm being a little biased because I do like the series. I like the series. I like the characters. I like telling the story of Ed and Lorraine Warren. I haven't seen the Annabelle series. That's the only ones I've missed, but I saw The Nun. I've seen all 3 Conjurings, and I liked them. I liked especially The Nun. The Nun was great. The Nun was the intro into the whole thing and where this demon came from, and just kind of how the story started out with it. And I really enjoyed that one. I really enjoyed the first 2 movies. This one I didn't enjoy as much, and like I said, I'm giving it a 7. That's being generous, but I'm doing that on the fact that I do like the series, and I just wish they would have made this one a little better and a little scarier.
Yeah, I think bottom line with this film is you pretty much know what you're getting when you walk into it. If you've seen the other movies and you like them, then chances are you'll probably enjoy this. If those other ones didn't do anything for you, then this one, chances are, isn't going to do anything for you either. So
yeah, but like I said, this one's not going to do it for you as good as the first 2 did when it comes to just being scared and having that eerie presence, right? In the other movies, when you saw the demons and the ghosts and they were just coming out of the darkness, and you didn't know, and they would leave it lingering a little bit because you didn't know exactly when you were going to see them come out of the darkness, but you knew where they were there. You just had that feeling of eeriness about it. And they did a great job with that in the first 2 movies, and that eeriness just didn't exist in this movie. And it just, so that fear factor just wasn't there the way it should be in a Conjuring film.
All right, guys, that's our thoughts on The Conjuring 3.
Yeah, we hope you enjoyed our review. We appreciate you watching it, and we'll catch you next time.
See you guys.